Well, we are 6 months and 4 days from the Iowa caucuses. It's going to be a long time. And despite a $100 million plus war chest, Ron DeSantis' campaign just can't get off the ground. Since his launch and big spending in Iowa, his poll numbers in the Hawkeye state continue to decline. 26% in May, now down to 21% as of last week. And already at least some advocacy media on the right appear to have picked a new person to take on Donald Trump inside Nikki Haley's quest to be America's Iron Lady. Erick Erickson is here, host of the nationally syndicated radio show, friend of our show, and author of the most important newsletter in conservative media. But it's good to see you. Thank you, sir. Is it too early to write off Ron DeSantis?
Oh, yeah. I was actually telling a reporter for the Washington Post a little while ago that he's being penalized to some degree because people have perceived him to be a candidate for 5 months when really he's only been a candidate for 7 weeks. So he's just off the ground. He's raising more money on a daily basis still alone than Trump and a super PAC combined. He's still getting his footing out there. So, yeah, I mean, people can say, well, yeah, but we knew he was going to run. That's true. But he's also, he may be down a little bit in polling, but he's still getting about a quarter of the GOP, and every other candidate other than Trump is getting 1, 2 to 3%. So I wouldn't write him off just yet. We've still got the first debate in a month.
Look, and we still don't know whether Donald Trump is going to be on that stage, which will conceivably change everything. I thought it was interesting, though, that the New York Post ran such sort of a laudatory piece about Nikki Haley. It's almost as though the Murdochs are going out shopping at least to see if there's somebody else who can catch fire because they have an enormous influence on the Republican voter base. What are the lessons to be learned from the, so far, shall we say, failure to launch by the DeSantis campaign?
I think you've got to come out of the gate with a compelling, comprehensive message. I think the DeSantis campaign probably waited longer than they should have, with the perception already being that he was running. And they need to now have a comprehensive message. They've been battling the wokes. Well, where's your economic message? The pocketbook issues in Iowa. And also, they don't want to be Florida. So tell them what's in your vision for them. DeSantis's campaign theme is the great American comeback. What does that mean? I think it's time for the campaign to articulate that, and he can tie everything together. There is a way to tie together the economic, the cultural, the anti-woke, put it all together for people.
All right. So DeSantis, when asked about this and asked why, when he's being introduced with millions of dollars in advertising and spending time in Iowa, why his poll numbers are going down, he goes back to a pretty typical Republican playbook, one Donald Trump uses a lot as well, which is blame the media. Take a listen.
There was a lot of optimism about you running for president earlier in the year. But here's this weekend's headline from the Politico playbook. Failure to launch. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign to topple Donald Trump has stalled. We are way behind, says a top DeSantis PAC official, sounding the alarm. What happened?
Oh, Maria, these are narratives. The media does not want me to be the nominee. I think that's very, very clear. Why? Because they know I'll beat Biden. But even more importantly, they know I will actually deliver.
All right. And you also had MSNBC guests sort of mocking Casey DeSantis, not mocking, sort of mocking her, calling her a Karen, on and on and on and on. Is he really that threatening, though, at this point?
Well, I would be a little bit concerned because of his war chest, and he's the only candidate other than Trump in double-digit polling, and he's only been in for 7 weeks. But the problem is, I was talking to one of his big donors who said every day that there's not a perception of momentum shifting towards DeSantis is a day someone else is going to decide Donald Trump is inevitable, and they'll make decisions for their time and their money, how they view the campaign and what they tell others. And that's the problem for DeSantis. He does need to garner some level of momentum, feel a shift, and it just hasn't happened yet.
What I can't figure out, and maybe you can help me on this, is for so much of the advocacy media, especially on the left, and some who view Donald Trump as this existential threat to democracy and this existential threat to America, and on and on and on and on. And if he's the nominee, he has the potential to be president, at least 30, 40%, whatever you want to call it, chance if he's the nominee. Why wouldn't they be at least keeping their hands off, if not propping up and offering up sort of places in praise for Republicans who could take Donald Trump off. It seems as though, in a weird way, they hate Republicans more than they. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.